Hello, hello, everybody. I am here today. Hold on. I'm just going to get myself organized. I'm trying to do all of this technology, but I have a very special and important message today to share with you guys. Today's live stream is actually rescheduled from yesterday. That's what I'm doing now. I'm just posting the link for those that want to join from the group. And once I've done that, I will be all undivided attention with you. So if you are just catching me now, say hello, tell me where you're streaming in from, make yourselves comfortable. Today's subject is going to be about how to rekindle the spark in your business. This could work for your career, and this could actually work for relationships as well. So any kind of relationship, whether it's your business, your career, your partnership that you have, maybe you're feeling unfulfilled, you've lost the spark, you're feeling confused, you're feeling frustrated, you know you want something different, but maybe you don't know what it is, or you're terrified of burning everything that you already have to the ground, of regretting, of messing it up. So I'm just going to post this link. And I will be with you guys shortly. Say hello if you're zooming in. And let me link for rescheduled masterclass live now. Perfect. So welcome. Let me tell you a bit of a story. Yesterday, I was actually supposed to have this masterclass yesterday. So this is the first free masterclass of the year. I've been really excited and looking forward to it. Let me pull up the comments so I can see who's all here and say hello. Okay, that's all done. So here we go. Let's go back in here. So I have this funny tendency sometimes to commenting. There we go. All right, here we go. Yay, I can see you guys. Perfect. Awesome. Hello, hello. Okay, let's turn this down. Okay, so I can see your comments. And if you're joining me on the Zoom, I can see you there as well. So welcome, welcome. If you have questions, you can post them in the comments as we go through this journey together, because that's what it is going to be, a journey of self-discovery. What I want to help you gain some clarity with today is for those of you who are feeling stuck, if you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're just like, blah, nah, your business or whatever you're creating just doesn't excite you as much anymore. Today's masterclass, my intention with today's masterclass is to help you gain a solid understanding of how to either pivot, shift, or how to rekindle that spark, that joy, that play, that flow. So juicy. Back in your business. As I said, this could work for a career, this could work for a relationship. So if you're feeling stuck in any part of your life, if you've lost the spark in any relationship, whether that's your business or career or a relationship, a romantic one, a friendship, a family relationship, this will work. But I'm going to be speaking specifically to business because that is my experience of it. That is the transmutations that I've done for myself. So today's masterclass was actually supposed to take place yesterday. And yesterday I actually had, I invited some Supernova Coven members. So that is the Coven that I work with. It's a small group of entrepreneurs, of visionaries. And I had this idea 3 months ago. It was kind of on a whim. I was in deep green. If you don't know what that means, green is any emotion that enhances the parasympathetic nervous system. So feelings like love and joy and play and fulfillment and excitement, those are greens, right? And I was in deep green when I came up with this idea. Oh my God, I should invite these supernova members. It's going to be great. I'm going to take them through their first psychedelic journey. And it's going to be a small group of us. And we're going to do it at my house. And it's going to be so much fun and so much play. And I ended up double booking the masterclass for the last day that they were there. And leading up to the workshop, I realized that that had happened. And I was like, okay, this is fine. I'm going to be in deep flow. We're going to go ahead with the masterclass. But that was not to be the case. So what's really funny and why I'm sharing this story with you is that, and if you've been around some of my work or attended some of my workshops, you'll often hear me say how every time I go through a workshop, and a lot of my workshops or master classes or have different themes. So some of them are around sales or money or well-being or business or mentorship, these kinds of things. And I do that because that is what excites my core, to talk about different things along a similar spectrum of these reds and greens. And every time I go through a masterclass or a workshop, I tend to have to transmute the lesson myself in my own life. So when I was going through workshops on money, for example, things around money will show up in my life that I need to transmute, that I need to level up. When I went through Shapeshifter, which was the last masterclass that I did inside the Coven, this one was around invocation. So shapeshifting is a very ancient shamanic practice. It is the oldest shamanic practice. And it is really about bringing different perspectives, inviting different perspectives into your being and allowing yourself to transform, to morph, to shapeshift. And I went through a massive lesson around giving myself permission to change forms, to shift. I had launched a program at the time. It was a low ticket membership, $297. I did that because in my last business, I had a low ticket program that was $297. I loved it. It was great. It was easy MRR, monthly recurring revenue, tick, tick, tick. And it was only after I launched this program, I want to do this. This is not aligned. I thought I wanted this. It made sense on paper, but now that I'm going through with it, I have to force myself. There's procrastination. There's like this, I don't want to do this. So when I went through that workshop, I had to transmute this inner dialogue that was saying, no, you must do this because you sold people into this, you launched this, you wanted to do this, and therefore you must continue with this. This is how the world works. You say something and you do it. And it was really a surrendering into the lesson that you're allowed to break your own mold. You're allowed to say, this isn't for me. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to change, shapeshift things. So I had to go through that lesson myself. I ended up canceling that one. I made sure everyone was really looked after. So that all worked out. And it was way better for those people in the end, like way, way better. And the pivot, this masterclass has been no different because I ended up double booking this workshop while I had these members at my house. We were journeying with psychedelics. We went into deep reality. It was just such an expansion, such a connection. And I realized I can't show up properly. I'm going to be showing up out of guilt because I feel like I have to do this masterclass because 300 people registered for it. I had, really pushed this masterclass. And there was a sensation within me of like, you have to do this. You have to do this, like very guilt, like a guilty feeling behind, like, that is why you should show up. Because if you don't, oh, you're such a loser. And I had to go through that lesson with this masterclass as well of what I'm trying to communicate with you guys today. Essentially, this workshop is called The Pivot, and it is really about tuning into your core's uncorrupted will and purpose and desires, and fulfilling those and following those unapologetically, and trusting in the process that you will be looked after, that things will work out. So I had to lead the way, literally, with this workshop in my own life. I had to literally say, you know what? If I show up on a workshop because I feel guilty, it's not going to be good for anybody. No one is going to benefit from that. If the energy, if there's a red, let me define that for you guys, by the way, because I will use those words a lot, red and green. And if you haven't been in my world, you might be like, what is she talking about? What is this? A red is any emotion that stresses the parasympathetic nervous system. So unfulfillment, which might be why you're here today. Frustration. Oh, my business is so frustrating. Everything is breaking down. I freaking hate it. Confusion, that is a red, right? Because when you're confused, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. So there's hundreds of emotions, and there's lots of reasons why we feel them. But the beauty and power of emotions is their simplicity, in that if it feels good or not. And that's subjective to you, right? Somebody who is skydiving or standing at a really tall building looking down, for them, that might be play. They might feel exhilarated, right? For you, that might be utter fear and panic. So your emotions are subjective to you. You're sovereign to your emotions, but the power in them and the beauty in them is how simple they are, even though we might think they're complex things and like, why do I feel emotions, right? They're actually very simple in that you can discern if they feel good or not. And they're a communication to you. When you understand emotions at that depth and layer, you journey through life and expand in ways that others will describe as quantum leaping, portal jumping. It's phenomenal what happens when you understand this communication that's happening within yourself with your own emotions. So red are any emotions that stress the parasympathetic nervous system. And again, discern, do I feel good or do I not feel good? When you're feeling resistance, when you're feeling triggered, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling meh, these are emotions that strain your nervous system. They age you. They put wrinkles on your face. Your hair falls out, you gain weight, you don't digest food as well. Like, this is scientifically proven. That's what these emotions do to us, right? Stress stresses the body, literally. Green, on the other hand, are emotions that enhance the nervous system, the parasympathetic system. So again, you can discern if something feels good. There's a whole spectrum: joy, play, love, flow, clarity, right? Clarity, confidence. These are all emotions that enhance, they strengthen your nervous system. You're more resilient to viruses and all these things. You're healthier, you digest food better, you glow, right? You have like this glow up when you're in those states. So when I was considering doing the pivot, the masterclass yesterday, what I realized when I really checked in with myself was that there was a red driving that decision to show up. Even though it wasn't the time and place, I had made a mistake double booking myself. It had slipped through the whirlwind of my last month with visiting family and Christmas and all these things. I had double booked myself. And when I checked in on myself to see, okay, there's 300 people registered for this. That's a lot of people. I should go ahead with this. Do I go ahead with this masterclass today? What I discerned within myself was that the reason I would move ahead was the sensation of guilt, because 300 people registered. I said it would be that day. Yada, yada, yada. So it was a red. It was a red driving that decision. And it was a lesson for me to surrender and realize this is not the time and place. I'm not going to do anybody any favors if I show up with guilt as the driving vibration behind a masterclass. I will actually spread that, because that's what we do with emotions. Humans, we are very empathetic creatures. And most of the emotions you feel on a daily basis, they're not even your own. They happen because you watched a movie or you had coffee with a friend, and as an empathetic being, you absorbed those emotions. Yeah. So if you hang around a lot of sad, depressed people, you're probably going to end up depressed. If you watch a lot of sad movies, probably going to be sad. Like, oh, everything is so sad, you know? And so emotions are very contagious in that way. And when we show up in our business, in our red, or our career, or our relationships with that vibration behind ourselves, whether it is unfulfillment, oh, I fucking hate what I do. I hate my business. Why am I doing this today? Oh, it sucks. I hate my partner. He's so annoying. Oh. When we show up with those emotions, we actually spread them. It's like we got poo on our hands and we're like, bah! So this is why when I talk about these reds and greens, and if you've been around some of my work or you've read Magic Source Codes, highly recommend it. Obviously I'm biased, but grab your copy. I explain that much deeper in the book, this system of red light, green light. And this is why I say red means stop. It means stop. It means don't take the sales call. Don't have a team meeting. Don't try to solve something or fix something in your business. Just don't even bother. Because when you're creating from a space of red, you're spreading that red. It's contagious to other people that encounter that. And you'll find it doesn't work. It actually creates more resistance. The caveat to that is there is actually a space of creation in reds, and reds can be powerful for creation. But there's a flip that happens there that needs to happen. Otherwise, if you show up at a sales call, and you know this, you show up to a sales call like anxious, financially anxious. I have to sell this person. I have no money. I have to sell this person. This is never going to work. Please buy from me. Does it work? Does anyone buy from you when that happens? No, you know this intuitively, right? If you show up to a team meeting and you're frustrated and unfulfilled, what do you think the outcome of that team meeting is going to be? Do you think there's going to be an expansion that comes from that team meeting? No, it's actually going to be resistance that comes from that, because we're always guiding ourselves through these emotions. So the pivot is a conversation around reigniting the spark in our business or career or relationships, whatever that might be, but really our business is where I'm going to be talking about this. So if you're feeling unfulfilled, or you're feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, I've been doing this business for so long and nothing is working the way I want, and I can see everybody else succeeding but me, I'm so frustrated. Ugh, right? The first thing is to recognize and discern what is the vibration behind that. Is it red or is it green? And it's very simple for you to discern that when you just check in with yourself honestly. Am I feeling good, or am I feeling bad about this? And what tends to happen when we feel these reds, this unfulfillment, confusion, frustration, is that we will then go immediately into fixing. We go straight into trying to fix that, fix the problem that we think is causing that red within ourselves, that disconnection. I'm frustrated because these people that I'm hiring, they're just not doing the work that I want them to do, and they're letting me down. So the rational mind will logically go, well, fire them, get new people in. Or it will say, reprimand them and put more strict working conditions and quotas and start to micromanage their time. Oh, how many hours did you do on this? But this will never work, right? If you're feeling unfulfilled in your business, I'm so bored. I hate talking about this. This is what I experienced in my last business, right? I got to a stage where I had grown a very successful business, 8-figure company. Yeah, I did it. Got my 2cc comma award or whatever it's called. Like, yeah, amazing. I made it. And then like almost just suddenly there was this like, oh, I don't want to talk about Facebook ads anymore. I'm bored of this conversation. And then there was confusion. Fuck. I want to talk about other things, but I don't know what I want to talk about. I don't know what I want to create. I don't know what it is that I want to do. I've built this really big company. I'm known around the world for the work that I do. Who am I to close this? How insane would it be to walk away from this? I can't do that. That's just crazy. I need to stick it through, right? And that's what I did. I fought those reds. I fought those reds of unfulfillment and confusion. And I went into fixing. I went into trying to fix my business. Okay, let's launch this instead. Maybe this will work. Let's fix this funnel. Let's try to optimize this. Let's bring new people in. Let's do this. Da, 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 da. And when all was said and done, this happened over kind of a 2-year period. When all was said and done, after all of this fixing, after all of this scratching my eyeballs out and pulling my hair out in these reds, really, I was left with a mental breakdown where I walked away from it all. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. And what's funny is that I think I really believed in my mind that walking away would suddenly put me in greens, It got to such a stage where it was so red, like it progressively got worse. The unfulfillment got worse. The confusion was worse. The depression was intense in those last few years. And I think I thought, okay, I walked away from the thing that makes me confused and unfulfilled and depressed. It's your fault. This business is Facebook ads. It's your fault. I hate you. I think I really believed in my heart's heart that when I quit, I would suddenly be happy. I would be free. I would be relieved of it all. But it didn't happen like that. It didn't happen like that because it doesn't happen like that. When we take actions out of reds, we get more reds. When we take actions out of greens, we get more greens. That's how the equation works, right? So there's this funny narrative that can happen in our minds, right? Where we will tell ourselves, and it's very convincing argument, this thing makes me unfulfilled, so I walk away. Just, this is not it. I leave it, I walk away, and everything will be fixed. But my experience is that that doesn't work. So the key, because when we're making decisions and we're taking actions, right? Action is the divine masculine, like we're pulling in the physical through our actions. When we take actions from a space of red, an emotional vibration that is detrimental to our well-being, to our physical body, literally, it affects the cells within our body. We get more of that. We get more reds. So what is the solution? If it's not walking away, right? And some of you guys, you don't even feel like you can. Oh, that's so weird. I just heard a ghost. I heard footsteps in my house and I'm the only one in here. Oh, okay. It's okay. I already knew there was spirits in this home, but they're all friendly. But that always catches me off guard when I hear them. Okay, freaky. So I lost my train of thought. Let me just look at the comments, by the way, quickly, in case there's any questions. Hello, everybody. Louise, Deb, oh my God. Revitalizing a business often requires fresh perspectives, innovative approaches, identifying, help align, networking, seeking out new opportunities. Yeah. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Steve Jobs. I love that. Yeah. Oh, so in about a year and a half ago, so that happened with my last business. I was deeply unfulfilled and it got to such a place where I had a mental breakdown because I wasn't making the transmutation that I needed to. I went into fixing. It was like I was on a witch hunt. I was pointing fingers at towards the end of that business. It was, like everybody, the staff, it was the staff's problems. It was Facebook ads, it's their fault. I was pointing fingers and blaming for my unfulfillment, my confusion, and my depleted inspiration, right? I felt stuck. I felt trapped. I didn't know what I wanted to create. I knew it wasn't, I knew I didn't want to talk about Facebook ads anymore, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was so afraid of walking away. And because I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? My rational mind was like, well, that's dumb. Why would you do that? Who does that? That's just stupid. Stick it out. This is a phase. I stuck it out for 2-3 years and I almost took my own life on many occasions. So I don't recommend that. I mean, I recommend it because existentially, it's a great fucking story. And it's the reason that I can have this conversation with you guys today and support many of you guys to make that shift into fulfillment, into your greens, into a business that honors you and feels really exciting to you. So I'm grateful for that experience, but I can see now as well how it didn't have to get to that place, right? I didn't have the tools and the understanding that I now have. And I understand now why things got worse. Even though I was hiring agencies to come in and fix, funnels and bringing in brilliant people to try to fix conversion rates or all these things, right? I was doing the things on paper. Somebody mentioned here, like networking. Great, let's go network. But I promise you, if you network from a red of unfulfillment, if you network from a red of confusion, it's only going to lead to more of that. That's all it's going to do. So the key here that I want to impart with this workshop, a key message, is that the urge or the rational mind will try to fix these reds of unfulfillment, can often lead you astray. because actions, when you involve the divine masculine with a red, when you engage the divine masculine, which is action, anything on the physical plane, when you engage the divine masculine in a red, you will get more red. That has been my experience of it. That has continued to be my experience of it when I don't listen to this. And it is what I have witnessed in so many of my clients and so many of the people in the coven. It is something that I feel very deeply in my body now with certainty. So fast forward, I ended up transmuting the unfulfillment and all of that. And last year, a year and a half ago, I decided to launch the flow protocols. So this was originally, it was actually called something else. It was totally different branding. There was no magic in it. It was very much mindset for business owners and happiness and fulfillment and those things. And something interesting happened after maybe I'd say like 4 months of launching this program. I actually launched it and I made a lot of money. I launched it all organically, did a couple webinars, and I think within, the first 3-4 months, I had already made sort of $70,000-$80,000 for a fresh new business. That was really, really good. I was like, yeah, this is it, found it. And then what happened? Dun, dun, dun. I hit the unfulfillment. Fuck. It just hit me like, poof, I was making this money. This is all good. And then suddenly, this confusion. Oh no, something's not right. Unfulfillment, like, I know I should do another webinar, get some more clients in. It worked. I know how to do it, but I don't want to. My soul is just like, oh, I don't want to do another webinar. I don't want to do this. So I'm like, fuck, the hell, Kat, get your shit together. Why can't you just be happy? Right? We tend to chastise ourselves and get so condescending with ourselves, so hard. We bully ourselves, right? We really do. And it's interesting because, if you attended Psychomagnetics, the workshop that I did in, I think it was November. And we had a whole section around sales and branding and creating magnetism, making a brand, a business that's magnetic to others, and the codes behind that. And one of those was this idea that you must get really clear on what greens you're expanding in people, because people, they're not buying features. They're not buying your product. They're not even buying you. What they're really buying is a feeling. They're buying a feeling. That's what they want. That's what we all want. Everything we chase, everything we pursue in life is because we think it's going to make us feel a certain way. We're looking for an expansion of being. That's what we want. That's what our core really desires. It doesn't care about money. It doesn't care about Lamborghinis. It doesn't care about how many team members you have or the logo of your business or how many flights you're taking. It doesn't care about that stuff. What it cares about is the sensation, the green that those things will give you, right? Your soul did not come into this plane going, I want money. Money is the thing of existence. Yeah. Your soul came here because it wants play. It wants joy. It wants gratitude. It wants flow. It wants creative freedom. It wants fulfillment. It wants excitement. And also, your soul is not adverse to those reds, by the way. Your soul actually fully accepts reds. It loves it. We create through duality, right? We create through duality. So there's nothing wrong about the reds, but what it chases, what it desires is those greens, and it uses the reds to communicate how to get those greens. That's what it does. And when you understand this, it means that when you're marketing or when you're trying to attract people into your business, one of the most powerful things you can do is identify what is the green that I'm expanding in people. Is it play? Is it love? Why are people buying from me? What is the green? Most people don't know this. They cannot answer this, which is why their business is not like scaling massively. Because when you understand what is the green I expand, and sometimes it's more than one green, right? What are the greens I expand in others? Then your entire communication, your entire approach, everything changes, right? So this was one of the codes that I shared in psychomagnetics, this idea that getting really clear on the green that you expand in other people, because that is how you begin to create magnetism in your business, magnetism in your sales when you have that kind of clarity. But what's really funny about that, and this works so well, by the way, guys, this is crazy. Once you get clear on discerning those greens that you expand in others, your marketing changes. The magnetism that you create in your business changes. The way you talk about things changes, right? It's very, very powerful, because that is what we truly desire. That's what we really want. We don't care about features. We don't care about a portal, membership portal. We don't care how many mops we get as upsells when we buy. We want those mops. We want the 5 extra mops, because the green behind that of abundant. It's like, I have 5 fucking mops now. Yeah, I'm so abundant. That's what we want. That's why we're clicking buy. Everything is a feeling, and it's the brands and it's the businesses that understand that do really well, right? That's why perfume ads are like so abstract, like they're really telling a story, communicating a green. That's what they're trying to impart with those ads. But here's where it's really funny. Most of us can get that concept. Oh yeah, fuck, what is the green that I'm expanding in people? And we can implement that in our businesses. But then we're not doing it for ourselves. We don't do it for ourselves. We never check in with ourselves and go, what is the greens that I'm desiring? What do I desire right now? What is it that I want? We often are lowest priority, right? Like kids, spouse, business, staff, friends, and we're so good at complimenting others. You're so beautiful. You look so nice. But then ourselves, you're so ugly. I hate the way you look. Lowest priority. We deprioritize ourselves all the time, and we become so disconnected that I bet you many of you guys on this call listening right now, you don't even know what the green is that you want. You ask yourself, like, what do I want? And it's so murky. You've deprioritized yourself so much. You're so disconnected. You think that the answer to that question, by the way, is like, what is my niche? What is my product? What is my brand, my website? Like, oh, I'm unfulfilled. I'm so bored. And so where your mind will go immediately is like, okay, well, what is the business? What does it look like? How am I going to get customers? What's the funnel? How much do I sell it? What's the offer? Da, 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 da. And then it's like this jumbled mess. And it's all like, I don't know. I don't know, because that's not what you want. It has nothing to do with what you want. That's the how, right? And the how is irrelevant it doesn't matter. Does it actually matter to you if you identified, for example, that abundance and fulfillment, right? You're on here because you want to reignite the spark in your business, unfulfillment, confusion, frustration, maybe overwhelm. So the opposite of those emotions, the polar of those emotions, because there's duality in everything, is fulfillment, is clarity. Clarity feels so good. Is excitement, is purpose. Oh, that feels good. I'm on a mission. I have purpose. Yes. Those things feel good. So we know at some level that that's what we want. Like, I feel unfulfilled. I want to be fulfilled. I feel confused. I want clarity. But the way we will go about trying to achieve those greens, those states, is through the how. Like, we go straight to the how. Who's done that? Who's guilty of that? Where it's like, okay, I feel unfulfillment. So now I'm going to sit down and I'm going to map out what my next offer or business is going to be and how much I'm going to sell it for. And but I promise you, you're going to lead yourself straight back into confusion and frustration and more unfulfillment. I say this from experience. I never finished my story, by the way, about flow protocols. When I hit that unfulfillment, 3 months into launching that, 3-4 months into launching flow protocols, it really shook me because I thought, that was my last business. Like, I'm in this new thing. This feels so good. And then it was like 3 months in, I was feeling the unfulfillment that I felt in my last business. And it was even more intense, I would say. Like, it came in more intensely. In my last business, it was like very progressive. Like, I started to feel bored, but I made it 2-3 years in that state. So it like progressed until it was really bad and I couldn't take it anymore. This time around, it hit so fast. It was like, yeah. It took me, in my last business, if that took 3 years to get to that stage, like, I went straight into deep reds of depression very, very fast. It was acute. So there was none of this like easing in, which I'm grateful for, because I could have prolonged the whole thing again. It happened very fast and it took the wind out of me. I was so confused because I thought I had mastered that. I was like, I have this new business. This is great. And then it hit me and I was like, fuck, no, not this again. And in many ways, the reason that happened was because I never fully transmuted that unfulfillment, right? I walked away from everything. And I believe that walking away would end the unfulfillment. But when we leave any relationship or any dynamic in our lives from a red, we will continue to invite that red in. Not because we're punishing ourselves, but because we're serving ourselves the opportunity to transform and grow. And a red is always a communication with yourself that you are disconnected from your green. You're disconnected from your core. So when you take action, the divine masculine, from a red, thinking that it will solve the red, I'm going to fire this client. I'm going to do this. Yes, you may gain a temporary sensation of green, of relief. The client is gone. What a bitch. Yes. That feels so good now. But in my experience, and maybe if you look at your own experience in life, you can attest to this. it will come back up. The red will come back up. Because you're always serving yourself opportunities to expand. And it is never the divine masculine that solves a red. Never. And that's where most of us go wrong. We think that changing things, walking away, quitting, I'm out, fuck this shit, is going to solve the red. I'm going to feel so much clearer if I don't have this person in my life. I'm going to feel so much better if this isn't here triggering me. But my experience and what I've observed in clients and people that I work with is that it just comes up again. It'll come up again. You will date another narcissist. You will find another job that feels unfulfilling in a year. Maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 3 years, but it will happen. And then you'll be right back at the same place. You'll go into another relationship and you'll feel the same reds. It'll be different circumstances too, like different people, different circumstances, but the same fucking feeling. And then you're going to get really confused and frustrated and you'll feel cursed. Why me? Sucks. That's how I felt when I happened to get in flow protocols. Like, no, I thought I had solved this. Luckily for me, isn't this delicious how we leave like breadcrumbs everywhere for ourselves, right? Luckily for me, I was actually working with the red light, green light system with clients at the time. So I had a much different perspective this time around than I did in my last business around that unfulfillment that was coming up, around the confusion. I felt very confused. I felt unfulfilled and frustrated, and all of that made me so confused. Well, it's making money. I thought I really wanted this. I was so much in flow. What is this? Oh my God, I don't know. Who am I? Panic. But I understood, this is an opportunity for creation, not creation on the physical plane, not creation through the divine masculine, but creation within myself. That's how you unlock those reds. That's how you transmute them. It's never through a fixing. It's never through walking away, abandoning, a quitting. It's never through those, because what you'll find is those very similar circumstances are going to come up again. And then you're going to get really depressed, right? Because you're like, fuck, this is a pattern. And what had happened in my childhood that's led me there. And then you're just like on a fucking rabbit hole, completely off track, you know, fixing, can never escape. I'm cursed. But it's actually so much simpler and it's so much easier than trying to figure out what is the business or the career or the what is the how, what does it look like, what is the funnel, what is the ads, what is the pricing, who are the people, what's my niche, what's my avatar, how many staff members do I have? It's none of that. Those things are sort of the byproduct. They're not the thing that fixes that, or I shouldn't use that word. They're not the thing that transmutes that red, right? So at the time when I started to encounter this unfulfillment again, and it really shook my confidence, because I thought, fuck, here we go. I'm broken. I'm a broken record. I can never be happy. Look at me. I thought I would be happy, and here I am in the same freaking place again. This sucks. My goodness. But I had these tools of transmutation because I was working with them and the clients, so I had a much different perspective this time around. Not gonna lie, like I definitely lost the perspective initially, and then I was grounded back to it. And I realized this unfulfillment is telling me I desire fulfillment. This confusion is telling me I desire clarity. This depression is telling me I desire love and gratitude, right? The polars of each other. And love and gratitude and fulfillment and clarity and purpose and confidence, these things are never things that are acquired outside of you. There's definitely circumstances or situations that can arise that can give you a sensation of green, right? They can make you green, but they're not sustainable. If you're relying on conditions outside of yourself for greens, you're gonna be in for a really rough ride. It'll be short-lived. And then it's like you're a heroin addict, always needing another hit, always needing another hit, always searching, where am I gonna get it from? And you just feel so lost and depleted when you don't have the hit, right? The clarity has nothing to do with you understanding your business plan or who you're going to target or who is your niche or how much is your price or all of that stuff. Your soul doesn't care about that stuff at all. It will only entertain those things because it's the feeling that it wants. Right? And we're always telling ourselves what we want. You know, if you're feeling confused and lost right now, you're like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what business. I don't know. And you're so in the masculine plane, right? The physical plane of the how. Oh, what do I want to do? I'm so confused. Well, there's actually a lot of clarity there. And clarity being you're telling yourself what? Confusion is telling you that you desire clarity. And the mistake that we make is we think that the clarity is solved through actions or things that we're doing or how we structure our business, right? Or getting an idea. Like when I have this out download, when I get the idea for my business, then I will have clarity. When I, am allowed to only work 2 hours a day and have amazing clients, then I'm going to feel fulfilled. When I have money in my bank account, then I will feel abundant. Then I will feel these things. Conditions, conditions, conditions. And that's how most of us live our lives. We have all these conditions in place. When then, when then, when then. And we completely cock block, lack of a better word, cock block our soul, who wants these delicious greens, who craves this expansion through those greens and uses the reds to support those expansions, to create those expansions. When we have conditions like that in place, we actually prevent that from happening. When I have lots of customers that give me positive reviews and my bank account looks like this, then I will be fulfilled. I will feel fulfilled. But my friend, you're going to be waiting a long time. And what I've also come to experience and observe is that even if you somehow manage to get the clients and big money and all that stuff in that place, it wouldn't solve this red. In fact, it will probably make it worse because you believing the money and the clients and the business structure that has clarity and all these things is what's going to give you clarity and fulfillment. And those greens will actually disconnect you from that, right? It's full of conditions. So And I've spoken to so many beautiful people through the last few years, conversations around, I hate my husband. I'm gonna leave my husband, he sucks, and all of these things. And I myself am going through an experience right now in my life where there is unfulfillment in a relationship that I have, and trying to navigate this like very loud voice in my head that's like, it's his fault. He's to blame for the way that I feel and all the things that he's doing. It's his fault. Walk away. Walk away. But I know better now that walking away in a red is only gonna make sure I have that experience again later on. Not because I'm punishing myself, but because I'm serving myself to such a high level that my soul will continue to invite chaos and contrast into my experience, because that's how we create. That's how we create the greens. We create the greens through the reds. We create through contrast. We create through duality. But the rational mind doesn't get this, right? So in 2 years' time or whatever, when it comes back up because it was never transmuted and the invitation comes back up, the rational mind, it will go, I'm cursed. This is a pattern that I keep reliving. Why? I'm so broken. Why me? When really your soul is saying like, here, let's go again. Try it this time. We got this. It's not a punishment. But if we continue to walk away from things, or even force ourselves to stay in things, right? It's not even walking away. But if we walk away from things, or we shift things, or we fix things, or we, try to create from those spaces of red, thinking that that's going to give us the green, we will just loop ourselves into it. Like the Ouroboros, the snake with its tail in its mouth. And then it can feel really depressing, because your mind will start to make stories about how, you're a failure and you're living these patterns and you're so broken and you'll never da, 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 da. Like it gets worse, right? When really all along, the secret was within you. There are no conditions existing over your emotions. In fact, your emotions and your thoughts are the only thing you have sovereignty over in this reality. That's it. You don't have sovereignty over other people. You don't have sovereignty over the economy, over this planet. In this body that you are incarnated into, the only thing you are sovereign over is the way you think and the way you feel, your feelings. And there is no condition over that. And believing there's conditions over that is what places you into these experiences. When you forget to create greens within yourself first, you create chaos and resistance to remind you of that lesson, to bring you back into that space. It is serving you on such a high level. If you currently have a business that makes you feel unfulfilled or stressed or confused and just stuck, please recognize that that is a sign of expansion coming your way, because that is creation. You're using duality, resistance, which means there's an expanded version of you. There's a transformation that's just there. It's like right there. It's like, let me in. I'm here. You can have it all. Let me in. But we lose sight of this, and we think that it's their fault. My boss is a fucking asshole, so I'm going to quit and it will solve everything. It might work for a few months, maybe a year, maybe 2. But I promise you, you're going to be in the same position, not much time. Maybe it won't be a shitty boss this time. Maybe it'll be a shitty coworker. Maybe it'll be shitty working conditions. And you're right back at square one. Fuck. Thought quitting my job would help. So unfulfilled. What's going on? This is why you see those, people that will like, they only seem to find cheaters or narcissists. Like I'm telling you, there's so many beautiful humans on this planet that are not cheaters or they're not narcissists. And then you find people that just seem to like have a nose for all the narcissists and all the cheaters. That's all they attract. Why? Because they're trying to help themselves transmute this lesson that we're talking about now, right? Self-love, self-acceptance, those things you have sovereignty over. It is not somebody else that can give that to you, ever. And when you start to think that your external conditions is what gives those greens or what unlocks those greens, you lead yourself into more duality. Not because you're punishing yourself, but because you're serving yourself on a really, really high level. So there are no conditions over your greens. And it is the moment we think there are conditions on our greens that we create a lot of resistance and duality for ourselves, and that we can get really lost. Thinking money is what will make you feel abundant is what will keep you in a state of scarcity. And it is a harrowing place to be if you so happen to make money from that equation, right? Money equals happiness. There are a lot of people that have that equation, money equals happiness, and they've made a lot of money, and they're so depressed and so miserable. And it's almost worse, because it's like, I thought this thing would make me happy and it didn't. And what's the fucking point now? Oh my God, it's never ending. I'm always going to need more and more and more. It's like a heroin dose, right? It never ends. Because if we use external things, if we make external things sovereign to our well-being, that's what happens. You're here because you want to reignite the spark in your business. You want fulfillment. You want play. You want flow, creative freedom, financial abundance. These things feel so green. Abundance, right? They're so worthy, these desires. Of course, you can have those. Of course, of course, of course. Yes, 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 yes. There's no such rule on this planet where it's like, you can have it, not you, not you, not you. That doesn't exist. But the first step is to recognize that there are no conditions over those states. And it is when we think there's a condition that we can pull ourselves deeper into them and get really stuck in the weeds. I feel unfulfilled. If I quit my job, if I walk away from this business today, I will be fulfilled. I feel so confused. If I make a plan, a business plan, then I will have clarity. You can try. Test it out for yourself. See what happens. You might feel clarity, maybe for a couple days, a couple weeks, and then you'll be confused again. Then you'll be like, fuck, fuck, fuck. What is it? What do you want from me? I am cursed with my patterns of reds. cursed to be unfulfilled, never happy. Just have to suck it up. There are no conditions over your greens. And it's only when you think there's conditions that you pull in more duality to help you remember there's no conditions. Because eventually, hopefully, doesn't happen for everyone in this lifetime, but usually what duality does is it brings you to such a place of giving up that you're like, fine, I'm just going to feel happy with nothing. Yay, you got it. She finally got it. Woohoo. The thing is, we don't have to go there. Like, we use contrast to create, but we can also create without it. That is also true. And that's how powerful you are. So you have full sovereignty over your greens. And if you're feeling stuck, what you really are telling yourself is you want to feel unstuck. If you're feeling unfulfilled, what you're really telling yourself is, I don't know how to feel fulfilled. I don't know. I'm expecting conditions in my environment and the way people behave and what project I have under my workload to make me fulfilled. I have conditions over my sensation of fulfillment. When I get this done, then when these things line up, then I will be fulfilled. So you'll keep inviting chaos and resistance. You'll keep inviting more and more of that until you bring yourself back to the space of, and fulfillment starts within me. Fulfillment starts within me. Right? You're feeling confused, clarity, frustration, flow, easiness, right? Bored. Oh, I'm so bored with what I'm creating. What you're really telling yourself is you want to feel excited, right? You want to feel enthusiastic. That's what you want. That's the green that you're after. So emotions are very powerful like that, right? Because they tell you right away. And they tell you right away what you want to create. And the mistake no, it's not a mistake, because all of it is creation, all of it is beautiful. But the way we kind of lead ourselves astray is thinking that there's something outside of ourselves that will give us that sensation of clarity, or that sensation of abundance, or that sensation of happiness or flow or freedom. And then we lead ourselves down this like crazy rabbit hole, right? That just seems to get worse. You have complete sovereignty over your emotions. It's the only thing you have sovereignty over, your thoughts and emotions. And the ability to create those states exists within you unconditionally. You have all the tools needed to create states of fulfillment, to create states of abundance, to create states of flow and freedom. You have all the equipment. Unless you had a lobotomy, you have all the equipment needed. It is your superpower as a human. It is the thing that you have been gifted with that other species do not have. The ability to imagine yourself beyond existing conditions. It is the gift. It is the power of the human mind, right? You have that innate within you, and none of that exists outside of you. So creation is not about an action like a divine, the divine masculine is what you pull in to support creation, because we do live in a physical world, right? And when you involve the divine masculine behind intentions, it's very powerful because we're in a physical reality. But most of us forget that that's like kind of the last step. We go straight to it. Fix, 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 do, blame, 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 you know? those greens exist within yourself, and you have full sovereignty to create them within yourself. But when you start to go on a goose chase of like, well, I need a better business plan, or I'm just going to walk away from this and quit and find something better, do something better, you're missing that first step. And then that's why you find yourself in the same situation again and again and again. So when I encountered that in the flow protocols, after about like 3-4 months of launching it, this like, whoa, fuck, I was so confused. I was like, no, not this. I can't believe this. I'm so broken. I can't, why is this happening to me? Right? I got really hard on myself. But I was teaching red light, green light at the time, and I was hearing myself, and I was like, okay, I gotta take my own advice. Okay. And I, sat with myself, and I created those greens within myself. And what happened because of that was the magic came out. It was like, I want to talk about magic. That feels really exciting to me. And flow protocols shifted completely into a coven, into alchemy and magic. And it was wild. There was so much fear. There was so much of this like, but my core was like, yeah, this is it. So it makes so much sense now why I was experiencing those reds, right? Because there was an expanded version of myself. And if I had continued to push what I had, like what was happening there, and just force myself, suck it up, or if I had walked away completely, right, I would have missed that opportunity to see within myself that, this is what I want to create. Let's do this. And that's when the magic came out of flow protocols. That's when it completely pivoted, right? Like that business did a whole pivot. It went from mindset to magic. And there was haters. There was people that were like, this is dumb. I'm unfollowing you. Fuck this. That happened. But by the same token, there was like, it's wild to think that I pivoted flow protocols into alchemy a year ago. And literally, I have clients, I have people paying me to learn alchemy and work with me and do rituals. Supernova came over and we did rituals and magic work and sorcery together. And it was like, how is this my life? And there's no fucking way I could have planned this or like strategize that, when I first launched flow protocols, like this is how this business is going to go. Step 1, I'm going to do this. Like the notion of bringing magic in wasn't even a thing in my vibration. It didn't, my brain wasn't even connecting with that. And I was so fortunate that I went through the last experience I did where I walked away from an unfulfilling business, only to realize unfulfillment follows you around, to have the capacity to transmute that. Because easily I could have done what I did in my last business there. I could have, because my rational mind was like, well, you've just made like $80,000. Like, just keep doing this. You know how to do this. Suck it up. Show up. Be consistent. Be persistent, bro. That's what my mind was telling me. That's what it told me in my last business. I could have kept doing that. And I likely would have gone right back into suicidal thoughts and depression. Right? So instead, what I did was I created fulfillment. I created clarity within myself. I created the greens within myself first. I transmuted those reds by creating the greens within myself, and then reality exposed and aligned itself and provided me the ideas or the synchronicities to connect the path for myself. And there's no way I could have planned that. Like, there's no way when I launched flow protocols that could have been like, okay, step 1, we're going to do mindset. And then step 2, I'm going to bring in the magic, guys. Like, that wasn't even connecting in my brain, you know? I wasn't able to receive that idea then. So it's hilarious how we get stuck on the how. We get so stuck on the how, like, I feel this way, so how am I gonna, how? What are the things in the masculine, divine masculine plane that I'm gonna change to make me feel this way? But that is conditional well-being. When you need reality to look a certain way or act a certain way, when you need people to behave a certain way or your bank account to look a certain way for you to feel a certain way, you are living with conditions. And I promise you, you will invite a lot of chaos into your life because you're trying to remind yourself it doesn't work that way. There are no conditions. It is the only thing you're sovereign over, is those greens. You must create them within yourself first, and then reality will come to play, not the other way around. You want fulfillment? Teach yourself fulfillment. Create it within yourself. You want flow because you feel so overwhelmed, so burned out. I just want flow. I just want to create. You feel so restricted in how you can create. You must give yourself flow first. Give yourself flow, what it feels like inside of you. And then reality will create the conditions to support that. We get that so twisted, right? So we walk away from a relationship or a job. I'm unfulfilled. I'm going to quit and I'll be fulfilled. Okay, you might be for a bit, but it's going to come up again. I promise you that. Because the expansion in that was not you walking away like, fuck you. Because that's conditional. Not saying you shouldn't walk away, by the way. What I'm saying is, what is the emotion behind you walking away? If you walk away in a red, you will get that red again. It'll show up again. 100%. There will be times when you will walk away from things, but if you're in green, that's the difference, right? If you are in a green and you feel compelled to walk away, you walk away, but you're doing it in a green, right? Not a red. If you're walking away from a space of like, I'm so unhappy and I'm so bored and I'm so angry here, I'm going to leave and then I'll feel happy. That entire structure is conditional. When people say things or when people behave a certain way where they don't bother me too much, where they don't wear a bright color that annoys me, then I feel fine. But if other people are an asshole and saying things rude to me and no, can't do it. And we keep inviting that over and over and over again. We're like, fuck. So the key is always to transmute, to create, right? The greens within yourself first. And by the way, if you did walk away from something or you're like, fuck, I did that in a red, that's okay. Like, you get to transmute that right now. It happens like that. Doesn't mean like you're cursed for life because you did that. You get to actually break that circuit by creating within yourself first. And you have full sovereignty over that. What does fulfillment feel like to you? If you don't know, if you can't touch that feeling, there's a big clue why your reality is making you feel unfulfilled. A huge clue. What does play feel like to you? I had somebody the other day tell me they asked me, what is play? Like, what is play? Right? if you don't know what play feels like, it's going to be very hard for your reality to give that to you. What does fulfillment feel like to you? Until you know how to create fulfillment within yourself, you will encounter a lot of unfulfilling things. And the business structure and the offer and what am I talking about and what is my messaging, and that's the how. That's like literally the least important step. It's so irrelevant. And I'm telling you, my friend, you couldn't even connect. It's laughable to think, that I could have sat there and gone, okay, flow protocols, step 1, do this, step 2, magic. Like there's no way my brain would have connected with those ideas back then. So the how is so irrelevant, but we get so fixated on the how and we go straight to it. Like our brain attaches to the how, but it's very, very irrelevant to the whole process. The process is the inner alchemy, the transmutation of reds into greens within yourself first. And then reality comes in to support that. So on paper, this sounds very simple, but I will tell you, transmuting reds, especially if they've been very persistent, isn't something that can happen overnight. Sometimes it does. But if it's been a persistent red in your life, my experience of it has been that it's not something that happens in one meditation or one go or one transmutation or whatever. One of the reds that I have encountered that has been persistent in my own life has been this addiction to overwhelm and like busyness, like I have to be busy. I finally have a business that gives me a lot of freedom in my time. I have a couple calls a week. That's it. I have a lot of creative freedom in my business. This is what I wanted. When I created a business, this is it. Like, this was it. Like, I want time and I want free. Like, that's what I want. I just want to garden and be with friends and have good conversations and exercise. And like, that's how I want to spend my days. Finally had the business that delivered that. Oh, but I never transmuted overwhelm. Like I thought having a business that had no calls is what would make me feel easy and not overwhelmed. I'll clear my schedule and I won't feel overwhelmed. But what's been interesting is like, no. Even with the business that I have now, it's like the overwhelm, like it makes me want to be busy for the sake of busy. Like I'm addicted to overwhelm. I feel like this, I have to be productive. I have to work, right? Where I'm getting at with this is that oftentimes reds, depending on how long you've been projecting them or feeling them, can be something that takes a little bit of time to transmute. And that one is one of mine that I continue to transmute. It's okay. I can receive abundantly without hustle, without sacrifice. But it's not something that happens overnight. I've been working, so the flow protocols literally has been about these red light, green light, this red light, green light system, this transmutation, inner alchemy. And when the magic came out, really what that did, it didn't really change that conversation. What it did was it just added ritual work to help and support with that, because it's so powerful for that. Enchanting ourselves. Ah, massive spider. Ugh, that's crazy. Going after a fly that's like twice its size. And that's a big fly. Maybe it's just a small spider and I'm overreacting. Anyways, I digress. I've worked with so many people in the last few years in flow protocols around overwhelm, anxiety, unfulfillment, confusion, depression, boredom, even anger, right? And it's the same process with every one of them. We create it first within ourselves. And some people, it happens very quickly. And some people, it takes a few months. But you are sovereign over your greens. You have that capacity. That is your superpower. And when you become intentional about creating those greens within yourself, your reality changes. It's never the same. Completely changes. It's easy to forget this, and it's easy to go back into a structure where we have conditions over that. When I leave this, or when my money looks like this, or when I get to do this, or when I have the time, or when the da 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 da. It's very easy. And I slip into that sometimes. It's really hard to see your own bullshit. Really, really hard. But you're here because there's a part of this message that you invited vibrationally into your field, that you're serving yourself with. And I hope that this is a reminder back to self that you get to create that within yourself. This is what you have sovereignty. It's the only thing you have sovereignty over is your feelings, your thoughts and your feelings. Unconditionally. You learn to detach those conditions from that. You learn to create the states of play, of gratitude, of fulfillment, of clarity within yourself, and you will see reality will completely change to support that. That's how it works. It's all a mirror of you. It's a residual of the way that you feel, of the way that you're vibrating. And when we're looking at reality to change the circumstances of our physical reality, to change the way we feel, we get stuck in this Ouroboros, right? In this loop. And it can get really frustrating and we can get really lost in that. So my intention with this workshop was to communicate this idea that those greens, like, first of all, get clear on those greens. If you're here because you're unfulfilled, it's really easy. You want fulfillment. If you're confused, it's really easy. You want clarity. If you're depressed and sad, you want love. You want gratitude, right? If you're scared and in so much fear, you want play. That's what you want. You don't have enough play in your life. Once you identify that, you start to create them within yourself. That's what your body does. It manufactures, it synthesizes emotions. That's your superpower. Now, it's easier said than done. And as I said, sometimes that doesn't happen overnight. You got to be consistent with it and you got to teach yourself the skill, right? And sometimes it can happen in a few weeks, sometimes a few months. And like I said, the one with overwhelm, that's what I'm still working on. But I will say my reality has definitely shifted even through that work. So you get to experience huge shifts in your conditions, even when you haven't fully transmuted something. The work continues to just expand and expand. And for those of you that are live with me now or listening to the replay, if you're listening to the replay, by the way, say replay when you're watching this, and this makes sense, you're resonating with this, it feels like, yeah, makes sense. And you're looking for a shift in your circumstances, in the conditions of your reality, new business, new ideas, whatever that is. First of all, know that you have that power. It's right here. There's nothing that reality itself can or will do that will actually shift that truly sustainably long term. That starts here. If that resonates with you and it's making sense and you're feeling into this, but you want support, you want more guidance, you want accountability through this process, you want to go deeper into the alchemy of this transmutation of red to greens, of how to create those greens, because you get to have a lot of fun with that. That's the fun part. But I want to invite you guys to join me into a 3-month practical experience together, transformative 3 months, where I'm going to take you through the system inside the flow protocols. This is the initiation into the flow protocols, essentially. I take people through this process before we go into deeper magic work and any of the other stuff. The first step is always understanding this transmutation process, always understanding how to create the greens within ourselves. And over 3 months, you're going to get to a place where you can transmute your reds. Triggers come up, resistance comes up, overwhelm, boredom, confusion. You can transmute them. And many of you guys are going to experience huge shifts in your physical reality just in that time frame. Many, many of you guys. And many of you guys, the shifts, the reality, the loop that comes from that, you'll start to experience it not soon after. But I have found in working with Coven members and working with clients that the 3-month is that period of accountability that helps people to really get this and to really master this inner alchemy of this transmutation process. So we're going to go on this journey together. I'm going to show you how to create those feelings. I'm going to show you how to guide yourself, how to really understand what it is that your core wants to do. So if you're feeling confused, I don't know what I want to create, like really tune into that and get that clarity, create that clarity and receive the clarity that comes to you. And on the back of this, you're going to, even if, so as I said, many of you guys will experience huge shifts in your reality. I've had people that have done this process and they've made $1 million months. They went from like 100K months to $1 million in just a 30 days time span. Crazy. I've had people that have left agencies, or not left, but just pivoted, launched brand new businesses, no experience in them whatsoever, and sell out. I've had people, I get a lot of entrepreneurs and visionaries who are maybe feeling stuck in their agencies or their coaching businesses. They're uncertain. I've seen them make pivots that are just like, what the hell? How did that happen? How did you just go from this to this? Like that. With ease, with grace, with simplicity, with play, with flow behind it. All because they have mastered this inner transmutation, inner alchemy. That's what it is. That's what magic is to me. It's the alchemy of the way you feel, the way you think. And if you've been practicing unfulfillment or boredom or confusion for a long time, and you're getting these concepts and they make sense to you, I'm like, yes, then this is the chance for you to have that support, that guidance, that mentorship to walk step by step alongside with you and show you exactly how it's done. And you will walk away with a whole new stance on how you walk this world. It's going to change everything. This is the same process that I use when I initiate people into the Coven. So, which is a year-long experience. So this is a 3-month experience, and the whole purpose is for you to transmute those reds, create those greens within yourself. And on the back of that, you're never gonna create the same. You're like, fuck. This is amazing. So for those of you guys that are feeling stuck, trapped, trapped. Such a gross feeling. Unfulfilled, confused, bored, stuck, angry, sad, whatever it is, you're feeling just, you're here because this masterclass was pivoting. It was about reigniting a spark in your business. You're just feeling meh, just feeling like that. And what I have just talked about makes sense. If it's resonating, if it's landing with you, then I want to invite you to join me inside of this 3-month initiation into the transmutation of those reds. This is the alchemy. It is inner alchemy, inner magic. We're going to have a lot of fun with this, a lot of play. And on the back of the 3 months, you're going to have the ability to create on a level that is going to change the world, because you creating in that space will create ripples for everybody around you. And this 3-month initiation starts February 23rd. So we kick off in just under 2 weeks. The cost to join this is $2,222, an angel number. And you can split this as well into 3 payments. And by the end of the 3 months, you're going to be the alchemist of those reds into greens. You'll know how to flip them. You'll flip them. And reality will never be the same. And you'll be like, I believe in magic. Magic is real. Yes, it is. And it's all in here. It's all in here. That is the inner alchemy. So for those of you guys who want to join in on that, just say Starseed, the irony. I use the same name of the thing that I was not aligned with because I like it. The name is great. Comment below with Starseed and I will send you an intake form and the link to join. Once you join, we will have a group together, a private group, and we will have live calls every single week. So every single week, I'm gonna take you through another step for this transmutation of those reds, this inner alchemy, mastering that. And in that process, you're also going to get to explore a lot of my practice of alchemy, a lot of those things. So obviously, you should be receptive to the world of magic and alchemy, or at least curious about it and open-hearted about it. If you have strong aversions to that, that is actually a portal, by the way, because it's a trigger. So my hardcore self says lean in, because reds are always expansions. And when you lean into those reds, you blow your mind with how fast you transform and expand. But if it's feeling too red, and you're like, nah, fuck this bitch, she's so crazy, it's not for you. Likewise, I will say a disclaimer here. You should only invest in this and work with me if you can get in green about it. Okay, this is really important. I do not want you to invest in me or this initiation together if you're feeling really anxious and really afraid and really just blah, reds, like bad. Not bad, reds are not bad, by the way, but just if you're feeling like really anxious and stressed and uncertain and confused, don't invest in this program. Like I said at the beginning, when you involve the divine masculine in a red, you will get more red down the line. That's what happens. Always happens like that. So it's not to say you won't encounter fear, because for some of you, that investment of $2,222 is a big chunk of money, and there will be fear and uncertainty. But what I'm saying is that if you know you want to be in here, get yourself in green first before you push by, before you say join. Go play, go like get yourself in green in a space of like, I feel good. Yeah. And then if you still want to invest from that space, that's when you push go. That's when you say join. But I do not want you to join when you're in a red, because it's only gonna, put you right back into another red soon. And that's, it's just easier if we don't go that way. Do all ourselves a favor with it. So comment starseed below if you want the details. There will be a first call starting February 23rd. I'm going to take you through the same process I've been taking the Coven members through. And you get to split that payment as well into 3 payments. So if the 2,200 is too much for you right now, there's an opportunity to split that as well into monthly payments. And on the end of the 3 months, you will have a sense of sovereignty over your greens, over your ability to create greens. So maybe your reality wouldn't have shifted completely. For some of you, that will happen. It's gonna happen fast. For some of you, maybe the reality hasn't shifted completely yet, but you will feel different. When things come that would normally have triggered you, it'll be like bouncing off, water off a duck's back. It'll land differently. And that is called unconditional well-being. That's the secret. When you have no money in your bank account and you're like, I feel so fucking rich. Yeah. You know the money's coming. The moment you unlock unconditional well-being, reality has no choice to respond to that. That's how it works. For some of you, reality will respond very fast within a matter of weeks. For some of you guys, it might be a few months, maybe 6 months, doesn't matter. And the thing is, you won't even care. That's the key. Because you will have gained sovereignty over your well-being and you'll feel good. So the bank account being what it is, it won't land the same way. And that's when you know reality is going to change, because you've unlocked that within yourself first. And if you've been trying to unlock that within yourself, you've been trying to transmute, but it's just, you keep going into overwhelm, you keep going into confusion, you keep going into financial anxiety, then this is an invitation to get that support, because it is very hard to do it on yourself. As I said, we're blind to our reds, right? Oftentimes I teach this stuff, and oftentimes I have a red right here and I'm like blind to it. That happened with Facebook ads recently. I was so triggered for the last 3 years with Facebook. I blamed it for my depression. Ad account shutdowns, no customer support. Fuck you. I hate you. So I decided I'm not going to run any ads for my business. It's all organic. And it was only during Psychomagnetics, the workshop that I did in November, that I caught myself. Oh, I'm very triggered. I'm not saying that in green. I'm saying that in red. Like, I'm angry at Facebook. What is this about? There's a portal here. And I started this process that I'm going to teach you guys. And I launched my first ads 2 weeks ago, and it's blowing up. It's like amazing. I'm like, why didn't I do this before? It makes so much sense. And there's so much play, and there's none of this like anger with Facebook, you know, and I don't expect anything from it. It's a completely different way to create. So that's the invitation. But regardless whether or not you take me up on this, I hope today has been really, really beneficial and insightful. That the main takeaway is that you have sovereignty over your states, and you create them within yourself first, and then the conditions change. Trying to change the conditions through the divine masculine is only going to land you into more of those reds. It doesn't work. It's not to say you shouldn't walk away, but as I said with investing, it's not to say that you won't feel fear in investing in this, but you shouldn't push that button while you're in fear. Don't do that. Get yourself in green. And if you still want to go, then go, right? It's not to say that you shouldn't walk away from your business, or that's not the way to do it, but you shouldn't do it in red, because you will only invite that again later. And we don't need that, right? We don't need that. We can just learn the lesson now, transmute, gain sovereignty. And when you're in that space, yeah, maybe you'll say, I'm walking away. But it's going to be very different than I'm walking away, you're to blame, I hate you, da da da. It's going to be like pulling towards something else. If that makes sense. So thank you so much for joining. I thought that was the ghost again, but it wasn't a ghost. It was actually my dog. I feel stupid. My dog was here the whole time. I thought she was gone. I was like, it's a ghost in the house, guys. This is my dog. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. It's been such a pleasure and honor to share my work, which feels so inspiring to me, and I hope it inspires you as well. If you would like mentorship and support and guidance because you've been dealing with this red for a long time, and if what I've said has resonated, it makes sense, then comment below, starseed, or just comment whatever I'm in, and I will send you the link and the intake form. We will get started February 23rd, so in 2 weeks from now. And once we kick that off, I will take you deeper into this process of transmutation. We will get together every single week. You'll have a group of visionaries that you'll be with during that process, which will be really, really powerful in helping you normalize receiving on a different level. And you'll change your reality. It's going to be very, very powerful. This is the first step to alchemy, understanding this transmutation process. If you don't get this and you start to work with, magic or ritual work and all that stuff without this first step in place, you can cause a lot of harm to others and to yourself. So you got to understand this step first. And then once you start to add magic, the other stuff to it, understanding this transmutation and this sovereignty over your well-being, it is for the greatest good of all. When you do alchemy, when you do magic, it will be for the greatest good of all, always, all the time. And that's what we're here for, right? And that's what we want. So comment below if you're interested. I will be checking the comments in a couple hours and I will respond to you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been such a pleasure and honor. And I will see you guys on the next live. If you had any insights that came up that you want to share, comment below, because I love reading that as well. Or any experiences that are relevant or that you felt might help, comment below there as well. And I'm very, very excited to continue this conversation, to be a guide, and to take you deeper into a very delicious and rewarding rabbit hole of this inner alchemy. That is how powerful you are. Thanks, guys. And we'll call this a wrap. I'll see you guys on the next one. Okay. I don't know how to quit this, though. Oh, I'm live on here. Okay, let's stop it here. Thanks, guys. Bye.